It's up to Republicans in Congress if this is going to be successful or not. It will be the toughest and the fairest legislation to deal with a broken immigration system that's been broken for decades. And we have not seen a legislation like this in some time.
The White House pressuring Republicans to pass that border bill that the Senate is expected to vote on later today. That legislation has already failed to pass the Senate earlier this year, as you know. It is now losing support from Democrats. New Jersey Senator Cory Booker is opposing it, saying that this does not provide relief for the Dreamers. Meanwhile, Fox's Bill Melugin encountered a large group of mostly male migrants from all across the world yesterday at the California border. Watch this.
Where are you guys from? What country?
Pakistan.
Pakistan.
India.
India. Where are you from?
Turkey.
Turkey?
Yeah.
Turkey. Okay.
India.
India. Where are you guys from?
Turkey.
Turkey. Turkey? Where are you guys from?
China.
China.
Ecuador.
Ecuador? Where are you guys from?
India.
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 Iran.
Iran.
You're all from Iran. Why'd you come?
No freedom.
No freedom?
Yes, in Iran. Iran is a dangerous country.
Wow, a lot of countries there. Joining me now is Ohio Congressman Warren Davidson, a member of the House Financial Services and Foreign Affairs Committees and a member of the Task Force to combat Mexican drug cartels. How's the task force going, Congressman?
Look, it got disrupted like a lot of our agenda in the fall when we had this personnel changeover. But we're still focused on the same sort of things. And look, this task force is instrumental into how we got to H.R. 2 and the ability to unite the conference to do really aggressive border security approach to stop the cartels and to secure our border. Unfortunately, that's not what the Senate's working on. They're not focused on policy changes. They're focused on funding to effectively get more illegal people here faster.
Yeah, I mean, even one of the writers of the legislation, Senator James Lankford, said he's a no. He's not going to vote for this bill at this point. But I want to get your take on who specifically, whether it's the government or the administration, who specifically is working on probing all of these military-aged men who are coming into the country. Do you have any idea who's actually looking at how many people who are military-aged men who are coming into the country, whether it's Chinese nationals or Jordanians or anybody else? Yesterday, Bill Melugin ran into one citizen who started collecting all of the passports that the illegals are dropping on the floor. They don't want to have ID on them when they get apprehended, so they drop their passports on the floor in California and Texas, and this one resident's picking them all up, and he's got a pretty clear idea of who's coming into the country. Watch this.
They're just dropping this stuff on the ground to come here and assume a new identity. So that's a little bit scary with my military background and seeing the people that are coming across that male, male, male. These are all military-aged males. People keep saying that. I've got the proof right here.
So there you go. The passports are right there. They're largely military-aged men. Many from communist China. A lot of people worried that Xi Jinping is creating a little baby army here in America. Who's watching that?
Yeah, I was able to ask Secretary Blinken that yesterday when he came before the House Foreign Affairs Committee, and he spends so much time talking about Ukraine, you would think the United States is in Europe, but I asked him about our own hemisphere and our own border and the Remain in Mexico policy, what we're doing to target the cartels and collect intelligence. He assured the committee that he is collecting intelligence, and at the end of the day, the Director of National Intelligence is responsible for that. We know that the Department of Homeland Security isn't focused properly. That's why Mayorkas should have been impeached, and the Senate should have taken up the impeachment the House sent over. So we shouldn't have confidence that this administration is doing it the right way, but we know that it's supposed to be done.
Well, I mean, you're on the House Foreign Affairs Committee. What is your role on the House Foreign Affairs Committee? I mean, what are we going to do at some point, turn around and say, oh, wow, we've got 1 million people, military-aged men, and now they're up in arms and they are creating discontent in America? Are we just going to say, oh, wow, look at all these Chinese military-aged men that are in the country. They're like a little baby army. Wow, we missed that. I mean, what are we doing about this?
Yeah, I mean, that was why it's so consequential when Speaker Johnson chose to cut a, quote, four corners deal with him, Hakeem Jeffries, Schumer, and McConnell, instead of working with our body. I mean, a majority of Republicans didn't vote for the funding bill, and the main reason we didn't vote for it is because we were promised that, yes, we will fund our government, but we're only going to fund a government that will secure the border. And unfortunately, our Speaker chose to put a bill on the floor that Democrats loved because it didn't change any of these policies. So the main power of Congress is the power of the purse. So if we want to say, yeah, we'll fund you, but we're only going to fund you if you do these things. You can have these funds if you do that. If you don't do this, you will get none of these funds. That kind of language has to survive passage. We did it in some of our appropriations bills in the House last summer, but then we sent it over to the Senate and just said, oh, well, they don't want to do it.
Well, therein lies the fight within the House. I know that. And Secretary of State, as you just mentioned, Blinken testifying before your committee, the House Foreign Affairs Committee yesterday. You had your colleague Michael McCall questioning him about Biden withholding weapons to Israel as well. Watch this.
What specific weapons do you plan to withhold beyond the 2,500-pound bombs?
No one's done more than President Biden. No one will do more to make sure that Israel has what it needs to defend itself.
We all know the history, but are you planning to withhold more weapons?
We've made known for a long time our concerns about a full-on military assault at Rafah. We've been in discussions with Israel about that particular weapon, and those discussions continue.
If you decide to withhold more weapons from Israel, will you at least give us advance notification?
We've gone well above and beyond in previewing for Congress.
Well, I mean, look, the administration keeps saying they've got this ironclad support for Israel, but the actions do not prove that.
No, their actions are terrible. And, you know, look, they say, oh, no one's done more than us to support Israel. Well, no one's done more to support Hamas in a long time, other than Iran. And the way that Iran's been supporting Hamas is the policy changes that, frankly, Obama was doing. Then it got interrupted because we had President Trump get focused. They clamped down Operation Maximum Pressure that the Trump administration was applying to Iran, was crippling their economy, was forcing real possibility of change of government in Iran, and it was choking off the supply for all the proxies like Hamas and Hezbollah and the Houthis. And as soon as they get the cash, what does Iran always do? They fund their proxies, and their proxies attack Israel. So this was very predictable that it was going to happen. And even after the 10/7 attacks, the Biden administration wants to fund both sides. What a horrible approach. And it's abhorrent that they're withholding funding to be able to attack Rafah when it's clear that you have to remove Hamas to actually secure Gaza.
And they keep trying to direct Netanyahu in terms of his next steps. Liz Peek, jump in.
Congressman, I'm very worried that the Democrats are going to successfully flip the script on the whole border legislation. They are now blaming Republicans and Donald Trump for basically our open border. How are you going to prevent that? I mean, this is a serious problem. It's a serious issue for voters. How do Republicans show that we want simply to secure the border, and that this bill that Democrats are so excited about basically doesn't do that? It's just it allows a pathway to citizenship for millions of people and allows far too many people to come in the country. How are you going to change the message on this?
Well, look, and the other thing it would do if it did pass is put a cap that essentially the president doesn't do anything until there's like 5,000 crossings a day. So that would handcuff President Trump from doing what he did so effectively, frankly, with insufficient support from the House and the Senate. And when you look at it, this is a terrible policy. What is the safeguard here? I think, look, an honest, free press is essential to defending freedom. That's why our founding fathers put it there. That's why people watch Fox News, Fox Business, and appreciate you guys. But we know we're not going to get that from the mainstream media.
Well, it's a great point, and you're right. Congressman, it's good to see you. Thanks very much. We'll be watching all of that. Warren Davidson is in D.C. this morning.